President Trump for the promises he made to us. He said he would secure our borders and that he would never forget about Laken.
And the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
What would you do if you accidentally found yourself in a secret national security discussion? That's exactly what happened to journalist Jeffrey Goldberg, who was mistakenly added to a highly classified signal group featuring top US officials. A chain of events unfolded, raising questions about cybersecurity and government communications. It all began on March 11th when Goldberg noticed he had been added to a signal group without his knowledge. At first, he assumed it was a hoax, but as he read the messages, he realized the chat seemed authentic, with high-level discussions on UN foreign policy taking place in real time. Within minutes, high-profile figures in the group, identified only by initials, began discussing appointments for key government positions. Names like Marco Antonio Rubio, J.D. Vance, Tulsi Gabbard, and Scott Bessent were mentioned. But no one seemed to notice that a journalist was silently observing. The messages kept getting stranger and stranger. On March 15th, a message pops up in the chat, a warning about an imminent Houthi attack. Goldberg knew this was no ordinary group. The level of detail and strategic insight convinced him that this was a genuine national security discussion. Still, he remained unsure whether this was a disinformation campaign or a real breach of security. Realizing the sensitive nature of the information, Goldberg made a crucial decision. Instead of engaging, he contacted senior White House officials on March 25th to alert them about the chat group. Goldberg even removed himself from the chat group, but nobody seemed to notice. When asked how such sensitive information ended in a group chat, Pete Hegseth had a brief response before storming off.
Talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include.
This incident raises potential security loophole of how did a journalist get added to a high-level government chat. Was it human error, a system glitch, or worse, a foreign intelligence operation? While officials have remained tight-lipped, this raises serious discussions about how secure the national security discussions really are. As officials investigate this embarrassing slip-up, one thing remains clear. Even in the digital age, the smallest security lapses can lead to unintended consequences. For now, the mystery of how Goldberg found himself in this group remains unsolved.
Said that some of your top cabinet officials and aides had been discussing very sensitive material through Signal and included an Atlantic reporter for that. What is your response to that?
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it. You're saying that they had what?
They were using Signal to coordinate on sensitive materials and
having to do with what? Having to do with what? What were they talking about?
With the Houthis.
The Houthis? You mean the attack on the Houthis? Right. Well, it couldn't have been very effective because the attack was very effective. I can tell you that. I don't know anything about it. You're telling me about it for the first time.
Don't miss out. Log on to oneindia.com for more updates.